Hello, everyone. I'm going to be doing a brief presentation on Elijah's medical care, and I'm going to get through it as fast as I can. I just ask you to be patient with me because I have some issues technically, and I'm still waiting on some lighting and microphones and stuff. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Sorry about that. All right. Elijah Mueller, A Short History by April Mueller. Elijah was born on May 10, 2006. We had no idea anything was wrong until he entered the world. We soon learned that Elijah had aspirated meconium and had serious heart defect called total anomalous pulmonary venous return. Briefly explained, the blood in his body was not being oxygenated well due to damage to his lungs, and then not being pumped effectively to the rest of his body due to the heart defect. Without life-saving measures, including surgery, he would not live. And I posted a picture of Elijah there for you to see what he looked like. Elijah was moved to UVA, or University of Virginia, where he had ECMO, a type of bypass machine that basically does the work of the heart, the lungs, the kidneys, all in one machine. And he also had open heart surgery. Unfortunately, Elijah suffered many complications, including chylothorax, where you get fat around the lungs, blood clots that led to him being resuscitated multiple times, kidney failure, infections, and inability to maintain his blood pressure, and lack of oxygen to the brain and GI tract. Unfortunately, or ultimately, he was able to overcome those complications except for the damage that was done to his GI tract. So, why does Elijah need a feeding tube? That's the big question. The nerves in his stomach and intestines were damaged due to lack of oxygen from his complicated start to life. There is no movement in the GI tract, which means he cannot process any solid or complex foods. The stomach and intestines can only absorb nutrition, but not break down fat or complex proteins or anything solid. The only way he is getting nutrition is by pumping a completely broken down formula into his stomach and then allowing gravity to move it through his system. The full extent of what can be tolerated has been tested over years of trial and error and a multitude of studies, including an invasive motility study done in Ohio by a motility specialist. We've gone through a lot of different things with him, multiple different formulas we've tried, multiple different medications we've tried, and we've done every study that you could think of out there, and seen multiple doctors, which is where we finally ended up in Ohio with the motility specialist. So what do the symptoms look like? Elijah threw up every day from his first feeding. To this day, we have not been able to get Elijah to not throw up, even when we bypass the stomach with a J2. He's had his ups and downs where he would do well for a week, a month, a year, and then regression for a week, a month, a year, or 2 years. The longest he's ever gone without throwing up was 1 month when he was 2.5 years old. And that was when we started Augmentin as therapy. And he's still on Augmentin, but it just isn't as effective anymore. He has a sensitive gag reflex that also leads to throwing up as well. Strong smells or getting something stuck in his mouth or brushing his teeth, different things like that. Not only does he have problems throwing up, he also has problems with bowel movements that vary from full liquid and frequent VMs to constipation that require a week of hospitalization to clear them out. I've only had to take him one time since we moved to Idaho to the emergency room due to constipation. So he has improved a lot over the, from he used to throw up 100 times a day. Now he throws up once or twice every other week. So it's a vast improvement from where he used to be. How do you treat it? Elijah is followed very closely by a GI doctor and nutritionist that work to help lower symptoms and work through new treatments and ideas as they become available. We have participated in studies for treatment options. Right now, Elijah is on a food-based formula that is broken down for him to process. He gets 4 feedings a day with a total of 2,500 milliliters, which is also 2,500 calories. He takes medication for nausea, reflux, and constipation, including 2 atypical medications being tried to help motility, which would be Augmentin and Periactin. He is rate sensitive, meaning we have to have a slow rate for his feedings, and if it is increased, it leads to him throwing up. His current rate is 240 mLs an hour, and he has 3 feedings of 500 mLs during the day and 1 feeding of 1,000 mLs overnight. You can do the math. He roughly is on his pump for 2 hours for each feeding, and he gets a very short break between each feeding, which is at 8, 11, 5, and 8. Those are his 4 feedings a day. But he does get a time when he has a break. Can he eat anything? Elijah cannot eat regular foods. He can taste anything he would like as long as he spits it out. He can have very small amounts of ice cream, yogurt, jello, or icing. He can also drink clear or thin liquids, although he is limited to the amount he takes and rarely is interested in drinking them. So I think the most I've ever seen him drink was 6 ounces at one time. And then you have to worry about the volume when he gets his feeding because his stomach is limited in the volume that it takes at one time. So he can suck on hard candy and possibly chew gum, although chewing is not a skill he does well, as he is not needed to chew anything his entire life. Elijah has been in feeding therapy a few times to try to get him to take things by mouth, but once we fully understood that the nerves were damaged and that there was no cure for it, we discontinued feeding by mouth therapy because he's never going to be able to have solid foods because his body can't process it. Even if he could eat it physically, his body cannot break it down. It is impossible. The only thing would be for him to drink the liquids by mouth, and that's a lot. Can you imagine drinking that much and have it, slowly over 2 hours because you can't tolerate the the amount, and then you'd be doing it all day long. So it just isn't feasible for him. So, questions. This is only a very brief history, and there's so many more things involved in his care. But if you have any questions or do not understand anything presented, please reach out to me or my husband for answers. I have made other slides and presentations in the past with additional information, and if you would like to look at those, posted on my YouTube channel, Moeller Family 7 Show. So there's a lot involved in his care. I have made more complex videos, and every year there is a Feeding Tube Awareness Week, which I do make videos for, and I spend the entire week presenting educational materials and answering questions about Elijah, which was in February, and it'll be February next year. But I hope that this was informative for you guys. We love you, Elijah, and Elijah's a champion. Even though he has been through so much, he's still going strong. Please continue to pray for healing and blessings for Elijah. So I really hope that you guys have enjoyed this presentation and that will be beneficial to those who are looking out and helping care for Elijah. Please feel free to share this. And again, if you have any questions, you can email me, you can text message me, you can message me in my YouTube videos, and any way that you can get a hold of me on my Facebook or YouTube. I will be glad to answer your questions. I will post my email and a comment on this video. So thank you guys all, and I continue to pray for Elijah, and God bless.